Okay, so you walk into a store, right? Maybe it's your local grocery or you're just trying to grab a prescription, and you see them, those help wanted signs. They seem to be everywhere sometimes. Or maybe you find yourself stuck in a ridiculously long line just because there aren't enough people working. Now, these might feel like just, minor hassles for you as a customer, but for the businesses, they're often just the tip of the iceberg. They can hide a much, much deeper financial problem. We're talking specifically about retail here, places like grocery stores, pharmacies, where management often really hesitates. They balk at paying staffing agency fees, the ones they can run like 25, maybe 30% of an employee's annual salary. And yeah, on the surface, that just feels like a huge chunk of money up front.
Right. And that's exactly where the first look can be, well, pretty misleading. What's really interesting, I think, is how often businesses just completely overlook the true cost of vacancy, this hidden cost, the sort of silent drain on resources. It's frequently far, far more expensive than any agency fee. It actually poses a serious threat, to profitability, even long-term survival. It's something that really needs a closer look.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that then. That's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to explore an expert analysis focused right on these retail operations. We want to pull back the curtain on those hidden costs, the ones that come from leaving jobs unfilled, and maybe uncover why, perhaps surprisingly, paying those fees might actually be the smarter financial play. You're about to hear why empty positions, they tell a much more expensive story.
Right.
So when a key role opens up, what's the standard first move businesses make? And why does that instinct often turn out to be, well, costly?
Well, the immediate reaction, it's almost instinctual for a lot of businesses, is just have the existing staff pick up the slack. On paper, right, it looks like a quick fix. Seems cost effective. You avoid that agency fee.
You're saving money, you think?
Exactly, at least in the very, very short term. But this seemingly cost-effective approach, it quickly spirals. It turns into this cascade of operational headaches. Think about a grocery store pharmacy, for example. If a pharmacist's position goes unfilled for months, the remaining pharmacists, they end up working crazy hours, covering multiple shifts. And that isn't just one person doing more work. It has a direct domino effect. Prescription wait times, they inevitably shoot up. Customer satisfaction plummets. And crucially, that pharmacist who's doing it all, they face serious burnout.
Right. And those ripple effects you mentioned, that's where the real surprise is, isn't it? Just how far do those financial impacts actually go beyond just that one burned out employee?
Oh, absolutely. The financial bleed goes much, much deeper than just one unhappy employee. You're looking at direct hits. Lost sales, for instance, because frustrated customers just go somewhere else. You could face potential regulatory compliance issues, maybe from errors or just service dips because you're short-staffed. And here's one people don't often think about. Increased insurance premiums for the business. Higher employee stress, more errors. That can affect your rates. And maybe the most insidious cost you eventually pay to replace that burned out employee anyway when they finally quit. It's this really costly spiral that often starts very quietly.
Wow. That really drives home how connected everything is, doesn't it? And as that pressure builds on the staff who are there, you start seeing something maybe even worse than just lost sales or mistakes. Something you call the morale erosion factor.
You're spot on. That morale erosion is huge. When grocery store associates, for example, are constantly pulled to cover other departments, maybe your produce expert is suddenly forced to slice meat in the deli, their performance in their main job, their primary role, it suffers significantly. They just can't maintain the same level of quality, the product presentation, the things that actually drive sales in their own area. It's a fundamental breakdown, really.
And we actually have some quantifiable data on this for you, which is pretty remarkable. Studies in retail show a direct link. Every single percentage point decrease in employee satisfaction, it correlates with about a 0.5% decrease in customer satisfaction scores.
Yeah, that's right. A clear correlation.
Okay, put that in perspective. For a grocery store doing, say, $10 million a year, that's around $50,000 in lost revenue per year, just from a single point drop in morale.
It's a powerful number. And what's even more concerning sometimes are the consequences in pharmacy operations. They can be even steeper. Overworked pharmacy technicians, they are far more likely to make prescription errors, increase errors. And this raises a really important question for any business owner. What's the actual cost of a mistake like that?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
The average cost of a medication error lawsuit just in retail pharmacy settings, it can range from $50,000 up to a staggering $500,000.
Oh, $500,000.
Yes. So when you look at those kinds of figures, suddenly that staffing agency fee starts to look pretty small in comparison, isn't it?
No kidding. Okay, so beyond the internal impact on staff and errors, it's interesting how understaffing forces retailers to make changes, like operational adjustments that hit revenue directly. What kinds of adjustments do we typically see?
Well, it's all about trying to cope, right? But those coping mechanisms, they have a direct cost. Think about it. A grocery store might cut hours in specialty departments, like the bakery closes early or the deli shuts down sooner. That limits sales of fresh food, which often have higher profit margins, Or pharmacies might cut back evening hours, maybe weekend hours.
Which basically pushes customers away.
Exactly. You're essentially sending them right to your competitors down the street.
And this creates that vicious cycle you mentioned. It sounds hard to break. Reduced hours mean fewer chances to interact with customers, fewer touch points, which leads directly to lower sales.
Yeah.
And you lose market share that's then really, really hard to win back. Like a grocery store closing its pharmacy early because they're short, they don't just lose the prescription money, they also lose all the other stuff those pharmacy customers would have bought while they were in the store.
Precisely. It's the whole basket, not just the prescription. And the financial hit from that is substantial. We have industry data showing pharmacy customers, they typically spend about 2.5 times more per visit than non-pharmacy customers.
2.5 times. Wow.
Yeah. So just imagine a mid-sized grocery store losing only 10 pharmacy customers a week because the hours are shorter. That alone could mean their annual revenue drops by $130,000, maybe even more, annually.
That burden just keeps compounding, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just the lost sales, it's how the work gets handled or not handled. You said when physicians stay empty, the extra workload doesn't spread out evenly.
No, it really doesn't. What often happens is your high-performing employees, they end up absorbing way more than their fair share of the extra work, which, leads to their eventual burnout. Meanwhile, maybe your less capable staff, they can get completely overwhelmed by even small increases in their duties. And this creates immediate visible gaps in performance. You see it in things like inconsistent product displays, poor stock rotation, just bad customer service.
And this isn't just a temporary problem, is it? What's really surprising is the long-term cost. You're saying the cost of retraining staff later to fix bad habits they picked up during these understaffed times, that can actually cost more than the original agency fee.
It absolutely can. It's like paying twice, really, a double whammy, as you said. And, we haven't even really touched on executive search fees. For management positions, those are also typically in that 25–30% range of annual salary. And the impact of a management vacancy, it's incredibly widespread. Let's say a store manager job stays open for, 6 months. That can lead to less staff accountability, policies being applied inconsistently, even relationships with vendors starting to fray. A leadership vacuum like that, it hits every single operational metric. Sales targets get missed, inventory management goes sideways, employee development just stops. The long-term damage to store performance, it can take years to fix fully. Makes that one-time search fee look pretty minimal by comparison.
Okay, so what does this all boil down to? For you listening, maybe you're a business owner, maybe a decision maker grappling with this. How do we actually quantify this total cost of vacancy?
Right. To properly evaluate those agency fees, retailers absolutely have to consider that total cost. And it's not just the obvious direct costs like overtime pay or using temps or the lost sales you can maybe track. It also includes those harder to measure indirect costs, things like sinking employee morale, higher turnover, a damaged customer experience. When you do a comprehensive analysis, it typically shows that the total cost of leaving a position unfilled for just 3 months often equals or even exceeds the staffing agency fee itself.
3 months, that's quick.
It is, and for really critical roles like pharmacy managers or store directors, that timeline can shrink to as little as 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yeah, that's how fast that financial hole deepens.
That completely shifts their perspective, doesn't it? It means thinking about professional staffing isn't just about filling a slot. It's a strategic advantage you might be missing. These agencies, they bring market intelligence, right? They know competitive salaries. They vet candidates in ways internal HR often just doesn't have the bandwidth for.
Exactly. And there's a crucial risk mitigation piece too. Staffing agencies, they typically provide a guarantee, like warranty, on their placements. So if a candidate doesn't work out in the first, say, 90 days, they'll often replace them at no extra cost. That offers a level of security, some peace of mind, that you just don't get with internal hiring processes. You're not just getting a person, you're getting a bit of an insurance policy.
Which is why the decision, then, about using staffing agencies It really should be viewed through a strategic lens, shouldn't it? Not just purely focusing on the cost. The real question isn't, is this fee expensive? It's more like, can my organization truly afford not to fill this position quickly and effectively?
Precisely. For grocery stores and pharmacies especially, operating on really thin margins, every single day, a key position stays empty. That represents a lost opportunity, and it significantly increases operational risk. So that staffing agency fee, it effectively becomes an investment in stability, in employee satisfaction, and ultimately in long-term profitability.
So smart retailers are recognizing this. They see agency fees not just as an expense to cut, but as an investment in the health of their organization.
Absolutely. In today's competitive retail world, the question really isn't whether you can afford to pay staffing agency fees, it's whether you can afford not to.